further? Great. Please call line item number 3.
Line item 3, discussion and possible action to adopt General Order 7.04, children of arrested parents, or take other action if necessary action.
Good evening, President Mizuko, Commissioners, Chief Sir, Director Hicks. I saw Ms. Marion here earlier. I'm here to present the proposed San Francisco Police Department General Order 7.04, Children of Arrested Parents, and we request that this Commission adopt this order. Some background into this. In 2006, our Juvenile Division worked with the Child Protective Services, Office of Citizens Complaints, San Francisco Children of Incarcerated Parents Partnership, Project What, and community stakeholders to develop a policy intended to protect children in cases where they were present with a parent that was arrested. Without a policy for the officers to follow, the focus was only on the arrested party and did not make the safety and well-being of the child a priority. In some of those incidents, children were left at school for long hours waiting for someone to pick them up, or with a neighbor, or even in cases left alone with a responsible party en route. The department, along with the community partners, wanted to ensure our members had specific protocols to follow and to assist the children in their well-being and safety. At that time, the department issued a department bulletin titled Children of Arrested Parents, outlining the steps officers would take when children were present during a parent's arrest. It was the intention of both the department and the community partners that at some point in the future, this department bulletin would become a full, permanent Department General Order. Every 2 years, that department bulletin was reissued, and with much the same language every 2 years. In 2013, the department reissued the bulletin after a comprehensive review that included the Special Victims Unit, the Written Directives Unit, the Legal Division, the Family and Children Services, formerly CPS, the Office of Citizens Complaints, and the Police Officers Association. The department clarified some ambiguous language and added additional requirements for incident report writing in these cases. At the time the department bulletin was issued in 2013, several of the stakeholders requested that the department change the department bulletin to a permanent Department General Order. Both Chief Sir and Deputy Chief Tomioka concurred with the community partners and supported the idea. The language in the proposed DGO 7.04 is essentially the same as the language in the department bulletin. In addition to the written policy you have before you, in concurrence with Captain Lazar, the commanding officer of the Police Academy, and Ms. Samara Marion of the OCC, who's been great, they're developing a training DVD which should be completed and ready for distribution to the district stations within the next few months concerning this exact issue. Some of those community partners that helped in this Department General Order that you see before you are here today, and we wish to thank them for their contributions, their cooperation, and their support during this process. Additionally, I wanted to add that the one person here who's most responsible for it with our Written Directives Unit, Sergeant Rachel Kilshaw, she's tireless in her work on these things, and trust me, they go on, and they don't take a small amount of time. They usually go on for years. So with that in mind, I request that the Commission adopt this new Department General Order.
Commissioners, you have the new general order in your packet, but before we go forward, I see Samara Marion coming forward. Would you like to add a few things? I know you bought some of the special people that participated in this collaborative effort, and I think it's probably the most important. Well, Sergeant Kilshaw, you always do great work, but you know we have the kids here tonight, yes, which is really good. I know you're responsible for. We would like to bring them forward too, please.
Ms. Marion, before you start,
sure.
Just let me, for me, you know, I like you supportive. You like what's in here. You like what's in this document?
Absolutely. And I had a few comments about it.
Go ahead. No, I just want to know.
Oh,
before-
absolutely. This was a
Bottom line
partnership.
is you like it.
You scared the
Absolutely.
children back into their seats.
And that's your profession. Dr. Marshall, come on up, please. Come on.
I'm going to let him talk. I just want to know what you thought off the top.
Go ahead, Ms. Mary.
Thank you. Samara Marion from the Office of Citizen Complaints. And there are a number of people here that I wanted to introduce to the Commission because they're the people behind the scenes. And the San Francisco Children of Incarcerated Parents Partnership, they've been working on this issue for a very long time. Back in 2007, they approached the department. The department agreed to these procedures. And part of what this organization does, it's a network of many organizations, including a youth organization, Project What. And they're here tonight. They wanted to talk about their own experience, how this procedure matters to them because they've been the children who've witnessed their parents being arrested, and they're the ones that have helped formulate this policy so that it's less traumatizing when they've been in this experience. So they're here to talk to you tonight. Also, there's a youth commissioner on the Youth Commission, the Justice Committee, and she's also here to address this as well because they support this equally. And right now, I just would like Zoe Wilmot, who's from Project What, she's going to introduce the youth.
Hi, again, my name is Zoe Wilmot. Thank you, Samara, for introducing us. We're really excited to be here tonight. I'm the program coordinator for Project What, which is a program of Community Works. And Project What is a teen program for youth who have incarcerated parents in the Bay Area. And I just want to shed some light on the reality that almost every youth in our program has witnessed their parents' arrest, and that's why this protocol is so important to us and so important that you all are taking it into consideration and continuing to being the pioneers in San Francisco for making sure that this happens. As people were introducing the Bill of Rights for children of incarcerated parents that was developed by the San Francisco Children of Incarcerated Parents Partnership, the first right on there is I have the right to be kept safe and informed at the time of my parents' arrest. And we just want to thank you for really making sure that that Bill of Rights, that right is being adopted by the City of San Francisco. And I'm going to introduce two of our youth advocates who are going to share their personal experience. So first up, we have Cheyenne McKenzie, and then we have Moesha Wise to share their stories with you tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Cheyenne McKenzie, and I'm 16 years old, and I've been a part of Project What since June 2012. I'm nervous. I'm sorry.
Your time. It's okay. You're doing a really good job.
Thank you. I witnessed my dad get arrested 2 times in my life, and the first time was my 10th birthday party, and he took me shopping. And I guess he was using counterfeit money or whatever the case may be. So the cashier called the police officers, and they came and arrested him. And while he was sitting in the back of the police car, the officers were trying to explain to me what was happening, the situation that was happening and everything, and where he was going or whatever the case may be. But and they called my mom and waited for my mom to come and get me. So they waited and explained to me what was happening. But I really appreciated that the officers sat there and waited with me while my mom came and everything, and how they tried to explain to me what the situation was. But I felt like it would have been more meaningful and more trustworthy if my dad was the one explaining to me what had happened and what the situation was and why he was getting arrested in front of me and why he ruined my birthday, because it would have been better coming from him. So, but I really do appreciate how the officers sat there and listened to me, what I had to say, and tried to explain to me, because it was hard for me to understand it because I was 10. So, another time I witnessed my father be arrested was at my 5th grade graduation. Yeah, it was at the graduation at the school. It was after everyone's names was called and everything. We were all in the auditorium taking pictures, and the officers came in and arrested him, reading him his rights. But while my family members were asking what happened and what was going on and why he was being arrested, they ignored us. Like, they didn't explain to us why he was being arrested. So I felt like they could have explained, at least not to a kid, because of course, but at least to an adult, what was happening and why he was being arrested. And I think they could have, well, I really do think they should have change the time and the place that they arrested him because it was at my 5th grade graduation. And I don't think that is the best time to arrest somebody because that was very humiliating for me. And ever since that day, my classmates and my teachers have looked at me differently. Like, they put me in a category that I should not be in because of the mistakes that my father's made. So, yeah, thank you guys. And I really do want to thank the San Francisco Police Commission for your protocols. And, yeah, I think they're good.
Before the next speaker, I want to thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Excellent
Spot on the
job.
commission.
Protocols.
Isn't there a
Very,
spot
very
still on the
good.
commission?
You know,
Might be too young, but someday.
Thank you.
let me tell you something. You're incredible, and I have to say that, as a parent, I tell you, no parent is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure your parents are really proud of you tonight because what you did is very powerful. I mean, it's one of the most incredible. So I can't thank you enough. So
Thank
thanks.
you.
No, thank you.
I apologize for spoiling your 5th grade graduation, too. And you're 100% right that should have been done better.
Yeah.
And if they're looking at you differently, it's just because you're about as articulate a young lady as I've ever heard stand
Thank
at that
you.
microphone.
Thank you. You guys have a nice night.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Moesha Wise. I am 17 years old, and I've been a part of Project West since June 2012. My mom was arrested in front of my eyes at the age of 12, and when I walked in the door, the cops had arrested her, and they talked to her and sat her down while she was in cuffs, and I cried. And also, when they were, getting rid of her, they were leaving the house with her, I asked what was going on, and she, the cops had explained that they were taking her downtown, and they would bring her right back, but she never came back. So it was only me, my sister, who was 16, and my brother, who was 14, left in the house by herself. And I feel like the police should have, sat me down or one of my siblings, because I feel like they should have, talked to us about our safety, because there was no adults in the house, and they should have asked, about the adults' appearance, or they should have, wonder if they should call my auntie or something. And I feel like that is very important to me, because I feel like I need somebody to be there for me while I'm worried about my mom being arrested, and it has been going on for 2 months until she came out. So yeah, that was going on, and I appreciate everything that's going on with the police now, because I know that they're trying their best to help out with other kids like me, so it won't happen again, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the help. Because without your help, we wouldn't have got this order right, and so we want to get it right.
Commissioner Sherman?
Is the youth commissioner here?
Oh, Commissioner Sherman had a question. You're up on the board.
I had a question. Go ahead.
There's also someone here from the Youth Commission.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, great.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Sophie Edelhart. I am a mayoral appointee and chair of the Youth Justice Committee at the San Francisco Youth Commission. I'm also a junior at the Jewish Community High School in San Francisco. And I am here today to support DGO 7.04. This year, the Youth Commission, and specifically my committee, has collaborated closely with Project What. And speaking personally, I've learned so much about the difficulties facing youth with incarcerated parents, and I've heard some of the most surprising stories. One that comes to mind is a girl, a member of Project What, whose mother was arrested while she was at school, had to be told by a school administrator that her mother had been arrested, and then was after school left both homeless and without a guardian. And that really stuck with me, and that's part of why I'm here speaking to you today. So the department bulletin that currently exists has helped police officers, children, and parents alike. I really appreciate this commission as well as the police department for having something like that. I think that is kind of revolutionary. But I think that making this a DGO and institutionalizing this is really a way to make it serious and make it help even more people in years to come. So I'd again just like to reiterate that this is a huge step in the right direction, and really above all an opportunity for police officers to be the positive impact on youth that we want them to be. So I just thank you for your time.
Thank you for your work on the commission. Commissioner Turman?
I have a question for Captain McFadden or maybe Miss Marion. Can you elaborate on the training video and what its intent is?
anytime we have a new department general order, we have training in that video. Ms. Marion, who's the expert in it, of course, who's actually on the panel for it, will be able to explain a little bit more. But on any general order that gets readopted, there's roll call training for all officers so that they adopt and they learn that policy from the get-go. And they have to see the chief's messages and the roll call training, and they have to adhere to them. So this happens in all department general orders.
I'm aware of that. What I was more interested in is the content of the training.
Happy to share with you the content. We're almost done the filming. You just heard from Mackenzie. She's one of the youth that's in the roll call training. What we've done is we put together two scenarios, one where a parent is arrested during a traffic violation, and the officers see that there's a booster seat in the back and ask the driver, because there's an arrest warrant for the driver, a felony no bail warrant. They ask her whether or not she's a parent. At first she denies that she's a parent, which is pretty typical because parents are concerned that something's going to happen to their children, they're going to be taken away. So the officers are following the protocol. Eventually she says, yes, I have a child. They get the information about the child and are able to get a responsible adult who picks up the child at school. That's one of the scenarios. The second scenario is officers come to a home, they're arresting the father. There's a young teenage boy who is the son, and it's a role play about how do the police talk to that teenager. There's a lot of myth about, of course, if there's a toddler or an infant, police are going to find out who's going to take care of that. But I think that on first glance, people might think, oh, a teenager, they can stay home one night alone. The reality is for many of these children, youth, they're home for months and months. And so it's to really also remind police officers that teenagers need that assistance. They need a responsible adult. They need someone in the home. So there's those two scenarios woven with the real stories from youth whose parents have been incarcerated. Mackenzie's one of the individuals, and there's some other individuals from Project What that have worked with us, with our agency in the department. And we're hoping to get it out really in the next month.
Thank you.
Commissioner Loftus.
Yes. And as a surprise to no one, I'm thrilled with this proposed DGO. I want to commend the chief for his longstanding commitment to prioritizing kids and really changing the relationship between police officers in the department and kids all across the city. I was just listening to him give a speech at the graduation, and he reminded everyone, never miss a chance to talk to a child, never miss a chance to connect. So this is another part of the way an officer would interact with the child, and what an important moment that is to do it right. And so I congratulate the chief, Sergeant Kilshaw, who's got a heart of gold and cares so much about kids, all kids. So thank you. Your work shines through here. Samara, the OCC, I guess I even have to commend Captain McFadden because you got to speak. But we know it was a team effort. And what I want to say is in my day job at the Center for Youth Wellness, we talk about adverse childhood experiences and how much it hurts kids in their long-term health outcomes for disease, for doing well in school. One of those adverse childhood experiences is the incarceration of a parent. And so sort of what we talk about is there's not a lot of things. Sometimes you can't prevent something happening. An adverse childhood experience sometimes happens, but boy, can you make a difference in how you handle it. And, the significance of even going from a bulletin to a DGO, this is cops, this is not a surprise also. It's a paramilitary organization. So a DGO is an order from the chief. And the significance of it it can't be understated. I've come to appreciate it in my 2 years on the commission. So when this says the policy is to minimize the disruption to the children of an arrested parent, that is like a shift in the mind of anyone, like I think you said, in the mind of anyone who thought of any child differently because of what happened to their parent. This is shifting that from the moment you interact with an officer. They know it's not your fault, and they know they've got to prioritize how they deal with you and the respect they show you. So the fact that officers now shall inquire about the presence of children, they should make an attempt to make the arrest away from children, if that's safe. They should allow the arrested parent to assure the child that they will be safe and provided for. Logistics, execute it if you can, not at the 5th grade graduation. They didn't put that in there, but we have to require some general reasonableness. So again, I just want to really congratulate the department, the hard work, the collaboration with the OCC and the community. This is completely a reflection of San Francisco values, and we should be leading the way on this, and we should be trying to get other departments to follow the lead. So it has my full support.
Absolutely. Commissioner Wong.
I want to commend the department as well for having the bulletin in place, it sounds like, for a number of years, and also the folks who have worked hard to make this a general order. I had two questions. I support this, but I have two questions. One is that, having looked at a lot of search warrants recently, having reviewed a lot of police reports or booking, I don't know that I've seen any reference to this bulletin before. So I'm wondering, is there going to be sort of a ramp up in the training so that we can make sure that all officers are following this? I remember when I was looking this over, I don't remember, it may have just not come to the cases that I looked at, but ever seeing sort of the name of the adult with whom the children was left, or anybody ever following this sort of protocol. So this was new to me, surprisingly good, but it was sort of new to me when I looked at it. I don't remember when I reviewed search warrants ever, looking at a provision that said, well, we want to do it at nighttime, but we know the kids won't be there, or something like that to assure that the kids wouldn't be involved. So I really would want to follow up on what some of the other commissioners said in terms of how do we ramp up the training, and maybe it's part of the implementation of a general order that will see a ramp up.
As Commissioner Loftus stated, with the general order, it is an order by the chief. So they have to adhere to the protocols within the order. Additionally, while they're doing it, in the days where I've gone through the department, there wasn't that much oversight of where the children were going. You could leave them with a neighbor, and you don't know that neighbor's history. So you better be sure that this person is well taken care of. We don't know, in dealing with the Child Protective Services or the Family and Children's Services, they're able to, once we connect with them, tell us if this person that we're leaving them with is a secure individual, that child is going to be safe. That's basically what we're looking at, is making sure that whoever we leave that child with, and in the days when I was on patrol, it was some of these things where we had a responsible party en route, and that sometimes was an older brother or sister. But now you're actually going to take responsibility for that specific officer to make sure that kid is safe, whether there be teens or not, that kid is going somewhere where they're going to be okay, and we don't have to worry about them, because we certainly wouldn't want another crime occurring while the parents are incarcerated. So now you're putting the liability on that officer to make sure, and that interaction that the chief has stated since he took over as chief, the importance of children. And I think that's been the facet throughout his career so far as the chief, is what about the children? They're our future. You see these two bright young women before you and our other youth commissioner. Fantastic what they're doing. And there's, I think, several of the people out there in the streets that can learn from people like this, and it's exactly what this order is all about, is making sure that they have the opportunity to be safe, at least for the week, the night, the week, maybe the month, whatever it might take, as Ms. Marion said. So it's a long-term plan to look at not just dropping the kid off to get him out of your way so you can make the arrest. It's actually looking at a more long-term effect of it.
Right.
And that's really what the basis of why the chief and D.C. Tomioka really want this. And I think it's the new beginning for police work. As Commissioner Loftus said, we're a paramilitary organization. We have responsibility to all victims, not just the suspects that we capture on a daily basis, but also the children that are left behind that are oftentimes not heard of. And we forget about them, and I think we're taking responsibility for them, so I think it's a good thing going forward.
Great. I had a second question, and this might be too nitpicky or too lawyerly for this discussion, but I think as Mackenzie was presenting her scenario, my question is, has the drafters considered sort of the impact on Miranda violations, potential Miranda violations? In a domestic violence situation, you may be asking the person to acknowledge that this is their child, which could be an element of the offense, which could throw out other statements made at a later point, or if the person who's been arrested has been asked to explain to their child what's going on, and they make an admission in front of the officer, how is that going to play out?
Well, so the Miranda issue is only going to be with the arrested person. So it's not going to be with the children who are the present. And DV is another issue altogether that we are addressing in our new upcoming general order. And I'm glad you brought it up, so you kind of gave us a precursor. And we are meeting with the same parties and additional parties in review of that domestic violence general order, which does have a whole section about children in specific to this. And like I said, this is kind of the first step in generating all arrests here in the city and dealing with the children on the other basis of it. And I think it forces the officers, too, to look at Miranda issues, to look at all legal issues, whether they're doing an arrest warrant later or whatever might happen, there is a notification that has to be made that if you are, let's say, after an incident occurred a month prior and now you have a warrant that's been through the DA's office, you do have to still take into consideration those kids. Sure. And so it's addressing their needs also, including upon a warrant or a search or any other thing when you go upon a premise. So we're at the first step here. We still got some other work to do on other general orders, and you will be seeing those hopefully very soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dr. Marshall?
Yeah, as I first saw this, I thought I got to ask the chief, can you live with something like this? Because, I think all of us know the split-second decisions as officers have to make in these situations. There's no doubt about it. Just from the work I do and work with young people I do and the situations and all of that, things happen like boom, 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 boom. And so for you to tackle this, factoring their safety while you're making, these arrests with folks, some of whom don't always have their children's best interests at heart. Let me just say that, not necessarily yours, but I know that. And so, Chief, I really admire you for taking this on, looking out for the children, no matter what the situation of the parents are, because this does require training and sensitivity and all that, while at the same time discharging your job in some very difficult and harrowing situations. So I know it's going to be, a lot of training and rethinking and all of that. But again, thank you for tackling a very difficult decision that puts, the officers in a situation where now this is going to be on them to do. So kudos.
Thank you. Commissioner De Jesus.
Thank you. I want to thank everybody for the presentation. It was wonderful. And one of the things that I want to commend the chief for is we certainly have a modern police force, and we have a huge commitment to community policing. And this is just another aspect of community policing and taking care of the children in the community. And it clearly the police department has been doing this with the bulletin. But it actually surprises me that it wasn't codified and not a general order. So I want to again thank the chief for taking leadership in this and codifying it and putting it in place, because, as I said, in terms of community policing, our children are very important, and the police officers doing the task of the arresting are the first responders to handle the children. So. And I like the idea that, if you're going to leave it with someone, that you're going to do a background check and make sure they're protected with the people that they're staying with, and that it is referred to, I can't remember the term, but the Department of Social Service person to also make sure there's follow-up and that there's a check. So this is wonderful. I'm glad it's codified. I'm surprised it wasn't codified earlier. But again, I want to say thank you, and I do see this as a wonderful aspect and tribute to community policing in its best form.
Thank you. And Sergeant Kilshaw, anything you'd like to add? I know you've worked really hard on this. Anything? Come forward.
Commissioners, I just want to thank our community partners. They worked really hard with us, and I know it took a while, but with the chief and Chief Tomioka, and they made that commitment when the community partners came to us and asked us to do it, and then we moved and under their leadership. So, thank you.
Yeah, it's moments like this before we have public comment and vote on this that make myself feel very proud to be part of this police commission and what this police department does, and looking out in the audience and seeing the collaborative effort from the police department, the OCC, the youth commission, children that are actually involved, experienced community advocates. It's very amazing. So, this is kudos to everybody. So thank you very much.
If I may ask you, Ms. Marion, or any of you in your, do other departments have anything like this? I'm just curious.
There are a few, but I do want to highlight that the Urban Institute has contacted the chief and our agency as well, because they want to have San Francisco be a study site. It's a national issue, and so they've identified San Francisco and 2 other cities because of how innovative this program is.
Great. Now that's even great.
That's good. Great. Is there any public comment regarding this new Department General Order, which I'm going to bet is going to be passed pretty quick? About the children, yes. Long time no see. How are you?
Hello. Well, my name's Larry Juicy Edmond, and if you can see this here, right here, why I think I'm here today is because I think about growing up in Arkansas as a child. A lieutenant named Sergeant Earl Gilchrist, Helena, Arkansas. There was a sheriff, and that's West Helena. Helena, Arkansas was Doris Lee, the sheriff. Then, as I went to Chicago, my uncle, Officer William Love. And I look at my life, being born in '61, I seen the movie Scared Straight. Scared Straight did something for me. But now I find myself in a world where you cannot be the criminal, but you can have the side effects of the criminal. Why does sometimes for the people who doesn't take the criminal side, why didn't I rob, didn't I kill or shoot? I took the good side. I always thought, when I used to see the police car, I used to say officer, serve, protect, and you had a still on the side of it. Those things was instilled in me. But I found out we're in the city, I just found out from the NAACP former president, Mr. Jellis, last night, Walmart is now taking over bad people coming out of jail, giving them jobs in the South. So the commander of the Tenderloin was at San Francisco State Black Health Festival, and he stated also that even this city,
you should stay on track with the general order.
That as a child, if you go to jail, then you may get a house. But I want you to be known, I'm still a child. I still believe that children you're a child, you're always a child, you're a child of God. And so what I'm looking at today is, where does people who really never been a criminal, or you've been a victim but you're treated like, that's one thing children should know. As me growing up as a young person, I didn't turn to bad. I had brothers and sisters who was harder than I was, but I still think we need to have generations of people out there telling people about Scared Straight and not to do the wrong thing. Scared Straight helped me. That was about the guy going to prison, going to jail or something. So I keep wondering why I'm not a criminal. Why I don't do the things other people do. My mother and daddy never went to jail, and it's about where you grow up at. If you never see them go to jail, then you become that. If you see them go to jail, then you become that. That's what I would like to say to the children, that you can always change, but also we need to pay and give respect to those persons who did not do those things, who went on to be like you are. I feel like now, after the end of this life, it's calling for me to be the police. I always want to have a police pageant, and a fireman's pageant.